Good afternoon people, welcome to another episode of Adam's Eats. Good to see you again. First off, what do you think of my new kitchen? Gone for a duck egg blue. Thought it needed freshening up, so yeah, new kind of paintwork to it. Do you want to have a look? Closer look. Let's have a look. Yeah, I was just kind of bored of that kind of magnolia, so I've just gone for a nicer duck egg blue. What do you think? Yay or nay? Let me know. Let's pop you back down there. Yeah, so what do you think? I like it anyway. So today, right, I've got a fantastic recipe for you today. It's going to go on my Sunday roast playlist, and it's called boulangere potatoes with a roast shoulder of lamb. This is a fantastic Sunday lunch. Reason being is you bung it all in the oven, you leave it alone for 4 or 5 hours, and it's done. Makes its own gravy, you've got your meat roasted to perfection, you've got your nice potatoes underneath. All you need is some steamed veg and you're away. You've got roast dinner. Now there's a bit of history behind this dish, which I really kind of like. I find it quite interesting that a dish has got a story behind it. And as this one goes is way back in the day, in French villages, when the local bakery, the boulangere, used to turn off their ovens for the day, once they'd finished doing what they needed to do, all the wives of the village would come up with their joint of meat sitting on top of some potatoes and stock, and they'd put them in those ovens as the residual heat would slowly cook them for a few hours. They'd take them back home, and then obviously they got dinner for the family. So yeah, that's kind of the history behind the dish. So as per usual again, pop down here guys and I'll show you the ingredients and we'll crack on. First thing you need to do is actually preheat your oven. Get your oven on, because once it's in, you just need to leave it alone. And you want to preheat your oven to gas mark 2. I know it seems low, but just remember we're going to leave this for quite a long time. So the nice low heat, what we'll do is it will render all the fat down into the meat, make it super juicy, and add flavour to those potatoes as well. So yeah, pop down here and I'll show you the ingredients. Okie pokes then, here we have the ingredients for your dish. Super simple, really. Like a lot of my dishes really. I don't like faff, alright? I don't like to just have lots of little bits that I need to do. I like to be able to just make meals that are simple, easy to do. I haven't got time to faff around and make lots of bits and with ingredients that I have to trek out to the Andes to get. Alright, nice simple food. So I've got a whole shoulder of lamb here. You know, get a nice good quality one from your butcher. You know, you can trim bits of fat off if you want. I'm not going to bother because I just think it adds flavour to the dish at the end of the day. But if you're a bit finicky about large bits of fat, then of course trim them off if you want to. You know, some of the nuggets here, some are there, up to you. Got 3 onions here, 3 medium-sized onions, but about 6 or 7 really large desiree potatoes, big red ones like those. You need about 6 of those, 6 or 7. Salt, pepper, some garlic cloves, thyme, rosemary, chicken stock. Okay, you need some chicken stock, but I've not boiled the kettle yet, so I've got to put that on. You need about a litre or so of stock. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to prep the lamb. Which I'll show you now. Okie doke then, right, let's get our lamb shoulder prepared, which couldn't be really any simpler. What we're going to do is we're going to poke some holes into the lamb. We're going to put the garlic and the rosemary in those holes, rub the top with a little bit of olive oil or vegetable oil, if that's what you've got, season it with salt and pepper, and that is the lamb ready. So all I've done here is I've just peeled my garlic cloves, and I've got some fresh rosemary there. You've got to use fresh really, because you want that fresh herb taste going through the meat. So all you want to do is just randomly take a knife and just make incisions all over the meat, nice and deep, just randomly, no particular order, just try and get in as many places, different places as you can. You will come across some bone, but just find another place. It's that simple really. Then what you want to do is take some garlic. The bigger ones you want to cut in half really. If you shove a whole garlic clove in there, it's going to be too much. Just sort of like a slither like that. Take a piece of rosemary, twig like that, cut it in half. Okay, so you've got pieces like that, got the slither of garlic. and the rosemary, and then you just want to stuff that in the hole together. Push it right in, because if you leave the garlic protruding or the rosemary protruding, it's just going to burn and go bitter. So you want to push it, focus in on there for you, get it right in the hole. Okay, like so, pushed in, ready to go. Then you just want to repeat that with the rest of the garlic all over until you've used up all the holes, basically. And that's it. Right, so then as you can see, I've prepped the lamb with the garlic and rosemary in all the holes, like so. Simple as that. Don't worry if you've got a bit left over or you need a bit more garlic, you know, just chop up another clove, it's no biggie, is it? And as you can see, I've poked the rosemary nicely into the holes there so it's not protruding too much. And now all we're going to do is just coat the lamb with a little bit of olive oil. You don't need too much. Again, just use vegetable oil if that's what you've got. Just massage the top like so. Lastly, you just want to sprinkle some freshly ground black pepper on the top, sprinkling of salt, and that is your lamb done. So pop that to one side, because the next thing I'm going to show you is the potatoes, which is a bit of a laborious job if, like me, you don't have a food processor with a slicing attachment, because I have to slice it all by hand. If you've got a slicing attachment on your food processor, then use that, because it'll make life so much easier, but I'm going to have to cut it by hand, so I'll show you that step next. Right, so I'm going to do the potatoes next. Now you can peel these, I'm not going to bother today, it doesn't really matter to be honest. In fact, it might add even some extra flavour, but yeah, I'm not going to peel them today. So what you want to do is you want to get your potatoes, take off the end, and what I like to do is I just trim just a small amount off like that, and that just means it can sit sturdier on the chopping board. And then you want to take nice thin slices. Okay, you can see now it can take me absolute age. Like I say, if you've got a food processor with a slicing attachment or a mandolin, alright, for goodness sake, use that, because you'll be here forever. Okay, so you just want to slice down until you've got nice thin slices like that. Focus. Focus, damn it. Focus! You get the idea. Okay, so you want to pop those into them cold water. This just stops them going brown. I'm not going to let you sit here and watch me slice spuds for the next 5 minutes, so I'll see you in a minute. Right, so through the miracle of time, I've done my potatoes. So they're all done, ready to go. Ooh, I should have got a bigger bowl. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. Put those to one side. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to slice up your onions, which I'll do now. It seems like there's a lot of prep work in this, but as I said, if you've got slicing attachments and stuff on your food processors, then it'll make life so much easier. Right, and then you want to slice them in half and then just down like so. You end up with slices of onion like that. Repeat with the rest of the onions. We're good to go, then we can start assembling the dish. Right, so I've done the onions, cried my eyes out. I've got everything ready now to assemble the dish. Got your salt, pepper, your thyme. Now you can use dried, but I'm using fresh just because I like it. So now we're ready to assemble. Like I say, you'll cut the time in half of assembling this dish. If you just use a mandolin or a food processor with a slicing attachment, you'll cut loads of time out of it. But we're ready, I've got there, we're going to assemble. So first thing you want to do is get a layer of onions along the bottom of your roasting tray. Just a thin layer, break them up a bit. Then of potato. You don't need to be too pretty with it. Just whack them on so you've got a layer. I actually only used 6 potatoes because these were actually really big. But you might find you need to use all 7. You might need to use only 5. If it doesn't really matter. If you've got some left over, just put them in a Ziploc bag in the freezer use them as chips or something. Okay, so I've got my layer of potato, and now what you want to do is repeat the step, but start with onion, because that first layer of onion just acts as a bit of a trivet. So some more onion, and then you want to hit it with some fresh thyme. Just strip thyme off the stalk and sprinkle. Probably 1 or 2 sprigs per layer, something like that. Nothing too much. You don't want loads. Okay, something like that. Not too much. Season with salt and pepper per layer. Each layer. It's important you do each layer so that it seasons it. Okay. Bit of pepper. Pinch of salt, not too much because there's salt in the stock, remember. Okay, and then you want to start with a layer of potato again, onions, thyme, salt, pepper, and repeat until you finish with a layer of potato on the top. So I'll come back in a second once I've done that. Right, again, through the miracle of time, I've finished, okay? I used all my potatoes, so I had just enough. I would say is, now I use this roasting tray, I use this roasting tray for this dish all the time. I would suggest you use the same one for each time you make this dish, because you can then just guess and judge how many potatoes you actually need. But I would say it's always better to have more than less, because if you run out of spuds, you can end up with, not full layers. So just, cut up a few more than probably what you need, or have a few on standby in case you get to the end and you've run out of potato. You can just slice another one up. But I'd say as a guideline, between 5 and 7 large desiree potatoes is what you need. But again, it depends on the size of your roasting tray. I didn't use all the onion. There is a little bit left over, but use it for something else. Use it in a cheese and onion sandwich, whatever. And that's it. So what we're going to do is just season this final layer, like so. Just a little bit of salt and pepper. It's important you season each layer, because otherwise they'll end up being, the potatoes will end up being bland. Okay, and then you want to take your lamb that we prepared earlier, and you want to sit that right on the top, like so. Now be careful that you've not got any fatty parts hanging over the edge, because that'll drip straight onto the bottom of your oven, cause smoke and havoc. What you want is so that none of it is hanging over the edge. I've got a tiny bit there, might be able to get away with that though, should be okay. Just move it so that all that fat drips into the potatoes and goes through the meat and makes it super delicious and doesn't end up causing smoke all around your kitchen. Okay, so that bit's ready. The final step now, before we put it in the oven, is take your chicken stock that I forgot to make up earlier. I'm using chicken stock. I would suggest don't use lamb stock, because you've got so much flavour in this lamb that really you want a nice light sort of stock. Don't use beef, for goodness sake, it's far too strong. But a nice light stock like chicken or vegetable to help sort of bring those flavours together. And what you want to do is you want to pour your stock. I've got about a litre here. I probably won't use all of this, but I've made up a litre regardless. It's just pour it down one side of the tray. And keep going, keep going, keep going. Actually, a litre there was perfect. If you need a little bit more, we'll need a little bit less, it's no bother. Just starting to come up to the edge. Okay, just underneath the potatoes, that's where you want it. You don't want it all the way to the top because it'll spill out, because remember there's lots of juice and stuff in this lamb as well. Right, and that is ready for the oven. You don't need to cover it with foil or anything, okay? It goes in as it is, gas mark 2, for about 4.5 to 5 hours, depending on the size of your joint, but go for at least 4 hours. Test it at that point and to see if the meat's nice and tender. You should have nice crisp potatoes on the top and should be delicious and golden. But yeah, we'll get that in the oven. I'll see you in about 4.5 hours. Okey pokes, right, it's night time. Okay, it's been in the oven now for just over 5 hours. It is night time. I put this in about 3 o'clock. I'm going to take it out of the oven. I did have to ramp the oven up to about sort of gas mark 5 or 6 just to sort of finish it off because my oven is rubbish. So I needed to ramp up the temperature just a little bit just to finish off getting a nice brown colour on the top and to reduce that liquid a bit. You might not have to do that, you might just be able to leave it alone, come in like 5 hours later and it's done, but that's what I had to do. All ovens are different. So this is ready pretty much. Ooh, yeah, you know. you know. Look at that. As you can see, the lamb is nice and brown. It's coming away from the bone because it's shrunk up, because it's cooked thoroughly. Nice sort of caramelisation. The potatoes have gone nice and golden brown. I'll just tip it towards you slightly. You can see there's a bit of liquid in there as well. And what we need to do now is please don't just cut into this and start shredding it and start eating it, because it'll be dry as anything. You need to just let it rest and calm down a bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to get some tin foil and we're going to cover this. Okay, cover it with foil and just leave it for at least half an hour. I'd say half an hour, 45 minutes. Just leave it to rest, relax, and then we'll shred it up and we'll have a taste. So the meat and potatoes have now been resting for just over half an hour. It is crucial that you do that because otherwise, say, your meat's just going to dry out. So what we're going to do is get the meat out of the pan. Just leave that to sit on there like so. Okay, well, the meat's been rested for over half an hour and I can't wait to tuck into this. It looks delicious. So I'm just going to carve just a few slices off for you. You can see the garlic in there. I'm going to have some of that as well because that's also delicious. What happens to the garlic is it goes really soft and delicious and like gooey, and that it's kind of fat on the top, that fat cap on the lamb has gone really nice and crisp as well, so that's also delicious. Smell that. I'm probably making a real hack job of this, but I'm absolutely starving, so I just want to get it in my face. Okay, so we'll move that out of the way, because I will probably chomp on more of that later. Just got some lamb. Now, what's really great about these spuds, like I've said before, is they make their own gravy. So you've got your own sauce. You don't need to make any extra gravy because it's all there in one tray. So I'm just going to dish up some of those potatoes and they go really nice and fudgy underneath and then really crisp on the top. You've got those onions in there, that thyme. Just nap some of that sauce. It's packed full of flavour. Let's try some of this lamb. Let's go in. Got that real punch of garlic and rosemary right through it, but you can still taste the lamb, that's important. But that lamb is delicious. So I don't know about you, people can be a bit, people can be a bit funny, like the fat's too, too much, it's too gelatinous, it's too viscous, it's too heavy. But when you cook the lamb this way, what happens is the fat just renders down and seeps through the meat and becomes part of the dish. It doesn't become too heavy, it doesn't become too viscous or cloying. It's just right. And these potatoes, again, nice and crisp on top. The potatoes are nice and soft and fudgy, nice and crisp on the top. You can taste the thyme. And really importantly as well, you've got that lamb flavour running through the whole dish. And how easy is it? I mean, like I said, I made it look really hard because I had to slice everything by hand, but really, get yourself a mandolin, get yourself a food processor with a slicing attachment, you do it in half the time. The hardest part is waiting, but like I say, if you're doing this on a Sunday, leave it in the oven, 5 hours later, you've got dinner pretty much. Well, that's it for today, guys. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you like the recipe. Excuse me for having another forkful because I'm really hungry. Again, please like, share and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram as well. Please leave a comment below as well if you like the dish, if you don't like the dish. Really happy to hear from you guys. So thanks very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time and bye for now.